So
Yeah.
back to your very important question. What can people do? Number one, uh, take the survey on Alma and spread it. Send it by email. Send the link. You can copy it and send the link by email to everybody you know. Number two, follow us on social media. Register with us. Register on the Alma page. Register with us in our social media, and then follow us in the Latino Art and Culture calendar. And remember to put your own art and culture happening in our calendar so that we can continue to propagate this, even though we may not have our front doors open yet.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Spotlight Houston, where we bring you the best in the people, places, and events in Houston. This week, we sit down with Geraldina Interiano Wise, an internationally known artist based in Houston who is spearheading a movement to create a first class Latino arts and culture center in our city. She is the board chair for ALMA, the advocates of a Latino Museum of Cultural and Visual Arts and Archive Complex in Houston Harris County. This nonprofit is gathering support, donations, and community engagement to make a reality this long held dream of a Latino museum in the Houston area. ALMA received a $1 million grant as seed money from the Houston Endowment to initiate phase one of the project, where they do exploration and research into the community needs. Additional funding has also been received from the City of Houston, private donors, and other sources. We sit down with Geraldina to talk about her journey as an artist, her vision for ALMA, and how you can get involved. Please note, this interview has been edited for time. And now your host, Blanca Quesada.
Hi, and thank you for joining me today. I have a very, very interesting person here that I would like to introduce you to. She's Geraldina Wise. She's an incredible, incredible artist from El Salvador. But most importantly, she's a huge advocate for Latinos and Latino art here in Houston. And actually, in September, she was honored by Mayor Sylvester Turner as one of the recipients of the mayor's Hispanic Heritage Award in the category, of course, of art in the community. And Geraldina is always trying to encourage and motivate all Latinos in Houston to continue to help shape the future of Latino arts and culture, which I think is great. She's also the co-founder and board of directors for ALMA, which stands for Nonprofit Organization Advocates of a Latino Museum of Cultural and Visual Arts and Archive Complex in Houston and Harris County. And so she's here to tell us what the plans are for this marvelous facility that's going to be opening up hopefully soon. Geraldina, so welcome, welcome, welcome to Spotlight Houston. It's
Thank
great
you.
to have you here.
Thank you. It is such a pleasure.
Yeah. Well, first of all, congratulations on your recognition from the mayor and the award that you received. It was a great honor.
It is a great honor. And I just want to share with you a little bit when I went to receive the award. I was able to, I got it two times, one in city council, in front of city council, and the other one in a big celebration for the city. And at the city council, I basically told Mayor Turner that we need to show, we just
Yeah.
need calls for our culture. So I told in front of the city council, and almost in a sense, almost making it inevitable, because Blanca, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
This city cannot go decades more with
No,
the authentic expression of our most diverse and rich culture, can it?
it's about time. That's all
It
I can say.
Yeah, no, I know. We've been waiting a long time. But in a way, not thinking that anybody was just going to deliver this for us. In a way, thinking, well, who's going to do it? It needed to be us, Blanca.
Yeah.
It needed to be by us, for the people of Houston.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are a gift to this city. And I don't say that lightly or glibly. I say it truthfully. We are a gift to this city.
Yeah,
We're the expression of a ancient culture, for God's sake. Ancient cultures, all the way from from the Aztecs down uh, to the Mapuches in the end of Chile.
right.
We are the representation of all of that, and we've been here many, many generations.
Yeah. And many other cultures embrace our culture, our food, our music, our art. You know, they just love it. They love it. So, yeah,
And
this is really important.
I'm not saying that the American culture doesn't love it. I think they do. They just haven't it's in silos. Like, they love Mexican food. We all know that. They
Yeah.
love, picante sauce. We know that too. But they haven't really put it in the context of our culture as food, as an expression of our culture, because it's missing the music and the art and the theater and the dancing and everything that can happen together the way we, consume our culture. I think even if they don't know these things, isn't it up to us to
To
put it
teach them.
together, to curate it in such a
Yeah.
way, and I'm gonna say the word that we're using, as an experience. Experience our culture,
Yes.
right? Don't
Yes.
come to just see art in the wall. That
Yeah.
that that's just a little piece of it. Come
Yeah.
experience, come get immersed in a
Yeah.
three-dimensional, rich culture of all the senses. What do you think of that description?
Perfect. And every Latin American country is different. It brings something different to the table, you know?
And we're
And
very proud of that. We're very
yes,
proud of that. Each
definitely.
country is very
Definitely.
proud of what they're gonna bring to the table. I do think we have a lot in common, though.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think that we've got a lot of values in common in Latin America. I think all
Yes.
of that will be highlighted because, one of the things that we're thinking about is art at the intersection of everything else. Art at the intersection of mental health, art in the intersection of food art in the intersection of social issues, of family values. What do you think of
Mhm.
that? I mean,
Yeah.
it really is rich, isn't it?
Yeah, very. So before we get more into what this complex is going to be all about and what the plans are, I want to talk about you. um, I want to know, first of all, what brought you to Houston and when did you arrive?
What brought me to Houston was, studying architecture, art, and art history. That was in '78, and, a it was an educational, immersion. I needed to come and think like the best in the world, learn from the best in the world, to go back to El Salvador and then go into government, into low-income housing. Coming to study, architecture, art, and art history in the United States was about my altruistic motive of going back to El Salvador and working in government and heading up the agency for low-income housing. I was keenly aware of the poorest of resources, that, so many people in El Salvador lived in, and that was mainly because of my art. My art started in the ravine of a volcano, of the San Salvador volcano, in the house of an artist that had just returned from Mexico, from being a student of Diego Rivera.
Oh, wow.
And I was little. I was 10 years old, and my mother deposited me in her very modest, cement house in the ravine, of the volcano, and the children from the ravine would come out to see. They had never seen anybody do art, and I was a peer, right? I was another 10-year-old, and I was so uncomfortable them watching. But I went there every Saturday for my art classes. So I became comfortable, and more importantly, I knew I could do something about this. And that's how this came to be, that I came to Houston to study architecture, art, and art history. But I consider myself an accidental immigrant because I came, and very soon after, the war erupted in El Salvador. And I got the phone call that very night of the coup d'etat that I was never coming back, that I needed to open doors there, that I needed to study really hard because this was my future. And in one conversation, I lost my home, I lost my family, I lost my country, and I was so young. And I don't wish that on anybody. This is, this is not a story I tell often, but it connects me to so many people with so many different immigrant stories, right?
Yeah.
We all have those stories. And if it's not ours, it's our grandparents. So it is it's part of the connector. So I'm proud of my story. It saddens me to tell it, but it saddens me for the ones that are still doing this.
Right.
Well, think about that, Blanca. The fact that that's my little story of seeing poverty up close and personal, but having the privilege of understanding art at such a high level so early. Because here was the master Diego Rivera teaching of loving the the cinnamon colored skinned people and uplifting through their art. This was not lost on me.
It was
And
meant to be.
it's meant to be. It's my story. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
so amazing to me that this is my story. I'm just a
Mhm.
regular person, but it's the story of all of us. We all have these amazing stories. But
Mhm.
importantly, I can tell you that it is from that love of people that this leadership, the servant leadership with Alma, leading the cause to to obtaining the fair and authentic representation of the expression of our culture. It's for our children. It's for the children that are not going to be on these podcasts, that are not going to have a place in society. The invisible ones, we're going to make them visible.
Well, I'm so sorry to hear what happened to your family and to yourself, but now you're giving in a different way. And I'm sure that, your family is there with you anyway, guiding you.
We managed to keep a tight family. But the war spread us around. So it's been a challenge. But again,
Yeah.
I'm not the only one with that story. We're
Right.
many with that story.
Yeah.
Most importantly, Blanca, I can tell you that it has caused me to evaluate what unites us instead of what separates us. So I think that that's something that Alma will continue to put out as a movement of what unites us, because we we have a voice. We have to use it, but we have to stand together.
Hmm.
Alone, I mean, think about it. Today, I have a voice because we're together, you and I.
Right. Right. It makes
That's
us
what we
stronger.
Absolutely. And what we can do together is just so extraordinary. And
Hmm.
many people who don't think they have a voice are gonna get a voice
Yeah.
because they're gonna get on this bandwagon. They're gonna be part of this movement and they're gonna find their voice.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And we're going to help.
If you work hard in Houston, if you have good ideas, if you're willing to be perseverant, you can do this and you can do anything in Houston.
Hmm. So, is this what made you become an advocate for Latino art and culture in Houston?
Yes, because I saw very early on that when I moved from architecture to art, I did that as a liberating move, let's say it that way, and as a sustainable move. I began to understand that that art was the ultimate freedom that I was looking for, and so I moved from architecture to art as a platform that I could use to promote my environmental ideas. I felt like the platform of art was safe to do that, right? I wasn't
Mhm.
going to go hug trees, but I could do art that could speak to this. And the more I dug about my ancestry, my Maya ancestry, the more I knew where I was getting this from.
Um, I know that your art definitely changed since you were a little girl. You have great art pieces. You've been to to exhibits in UNESCO representing your country, El Salvador. And there's a great exhibit coming up for the Olympics that where you're going to be at in Paris, and you're also going to be in Portugal pretty soon. So congratulations on that as well.
Thank
Uh,
you. You can't imagine what an honor it is because in essence, art is I think it's a diplomatic, safe platform to represent the modern notions of who we are as people.
yeah,
I don't need to represent the that I am a Maya. I'm a modern Maya,
yeah,
and therefore my art is contemporary, and it is
mhm.
new language because I'm making new language with art.
You're
So
fighting in a different way.
yes, yes, because we are now here, and what is surrounding us is different. So it can't be a repetition of what they did. It's
Right,
gonna be my new language. But
right.
let me say this um, very assertively. In no way, shape, or form have I invented the idea of leaving art for my people. The most prehistoric of men and women, I truly believe there were women in those fields, were the most superb artists. And they left symbols in those caves that are abstract. And
Yes.
nobody knows what they are or what they
Yeah.
mean,
I've
what they
seen them
do.
before.
Have you? I did too. And
Yes.
you know what we do know? They left them for the generations to come. They
Yeah.
left
It's
symbols for
it's
us.
it's proof that they lived and
Isn't
that
that
they had
beautiful?
experiences, you know? So yeah, I love that art.
So now connect that to my art. I am leaving symbology for generations to come. And now let's connect that to Alma.
Yeah.
We have to put together our expression and patrimony of art for the future generations.
Yeah. 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 Can you describe a little bit of your artwork for people that haven't seen it?
Sure. One of them is right behind me. That
Yeah.
one's called Coloratura Anthem. It was done in the spirit of what we had been talking about. It was done on a 4th of July. I did it as an ode to the country I chose to live in.
Mhm.
And because I was left as an accidental immigrant, but then I chose to live here. And so that is a coloratura anthem about the about being immersed in this country and honoring it because
Yeah.
I think what matter of factly my art and my activism around Alma is about honoring this country. It's about the fact that we are American, and
We are
so
here.
we are here. So it's honoring this country. And everything I do is in honor of this country because this country has afforded me and is affording many artists I know the true freedom of expression. That is not to
Mhm.
be taken for granted. And
Mhm.
I honor Americans who have allowed us to be in this country. But we have to show up fully. We can't just show up invisibly or demurely. We have to show up with our true force, with our true patrimony that we bring to this country, and it's a lot.
Yeah. So how long ago did you start the ball rolling on this nonprofit organization, ALMA?
2021, we started. I have to tell you that I've been in talks probably for the last 10 years about an idea of doing something bigger than what is here. And but taking the leadership of this, Blanca, is a heavy lift. And so, all those talks in 10 years, like, oh, good idea, but not me. Right. Everybody said
Right.
that at that table.
Right.
Each time we'd get together. It's a great idea. Needs to happen, but not me.
Mhm.
So in a way, like what were we waiting for? For
Mhm.
somebody to deliver this for us? It wasn't gonna
Mhm.
happen. It hasn't
Right.
happened. So finally, I came to that conclusion. Well, it's either us or it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So us became a small group of us who met every Friday at 8 in the morning. and writing down the ideas and hashing out the plan, and then uh, incorporating as a nonprofit and as a board. We had some of our favorite Latino people that have been working in the arts and culture for a long time, the likes of Dorothy Karam and
Oh,
Nelly Fraga.
yes. She's
And,
fantastic.
and they were with us. They got it with us very early because we, again, for 10 years, we had been in talks and then saying, oh, but we need to, save this, save the other legacy institution. But I kept saying, but look, those people need to keep working that. We
Yeah.
need to dream bigger. We need to plan bigger. And it came that moment of truth. Was I gonna lead this or not?
So who else is involved in this grand endeavor?
So we have had, like I told you, luminaries that have come, and then they are now they have left the board, but every one of them leaving us in a higher and higher place with a plan that is going forth. So David Contreras from LULAC, a historian from LULAC, was on our board. Left recently. Sofia Drogué, who's a community leader and advocate for everything Latino in Houston. She was instrumental on our board as well. She has just left, and we have Port Commissioner Wendy Montoya Clunan. We Nori Angel, who is the leader of American Leadership Forum, and also advocating for us to come together for forcefully to to show our voices in betterment of this city. She has been on the board as well. Massey Villarreal, a huge advocate, and at so many levels in the business side, at a national level. And then we have Gracie Science, was Mayor
Yeah.
Tem. Uh, Ray Garcia with PwC looking out for our finances and for everything to be so above board. We are in conjunction with Greater Houston Community Foundation, who has been instrumental in keeping us so focused and so above board, because we have to be beyond reproach.
Yeah,
Bianca, I'm here to tell you,
definitely.
we are going to be asking for a lot of money.
Yeah,
The
it takes a lot of money to do something like that.
likes no Latino institution, possibly in the United States, has asked for.
Mhm.
Well, why would we ask for little when what the representation that we are likely to be is of such a large population of the United States?
Mhm. You've
Can't
already gotten quite a bit of money already, but you need so much more.
Yes, the money that we got, $1 million. So probably no Latino organization in for sure in Houston has ever gotten that amount of money to start and to plan. We have been extremely judicious about it. We had a very good plan based on community engagement, Blanca, which is
Mhm.
why I'm here. When you invited me to be here,
Mhm.
it was such a gracious invitation, and I agreed because I want to tell you about that community engagement. It's at the grassroots level that we are going to get this going, because when we come together in the movement that is Alma, the movement of our voices, the movement of our representation, then we can go represent this togetherness to the sources of fun. So I want to tell you about the survey. It's called Voz de Alma and Voice of Alma, because we are saying that each one of you can be the voice for Alma, because
Mhm.
your voices are going to get represented in our planning. We have a
Yeah.
plan to represent our voices. The issue is here, Blanca, that we need to disseminate this to every Latino in the area, right?
Mm.
Every Latino. It's digital, it's online. I'm hoping that you will put this
Yes. Where
on.
where where online can they find the survey?
This is on alma.org. So Alma, ALMA, another A and a double H. So alma.org, the landing place, the landing page is our survey. You can take it in English or in Spanish. And you can then copy the link and send it to your whole family. Send it to your friends in Houston. Send it to your coworkers, because we're trying to reach Every voice, Blanca. We're saying, give us your voice, lend us your voice, give us your dreams, lend us your dreams so that we can put them together beautifully into big data and go to funding and go to planning with your voices.
Yeah.
Blanca, thank you for letting me say all that because
Of course.
if anything, this is our chance.
Yeah. Yeah. So when is this complex going to be happening? When is it going to be built and where?
That's part of the planning. So you asked the exact right questions that we have hired international firm of consultants that help organizations then build their project. And we wanted an international firm so that they could look at Houston with fresh eyes with big data. So
Hmm.
analyze Houston in a fresh way,
Great idea.
isn't it?
Yes.
Because we're building for the future, Blanca.
Hmm.
This is a very important point about Alma. We're building for the future. So we're not going to be obsolete in 2 years or having to backtrack something in 3 years.
Hmm.
We are the future. We're designing the future.
Hmm.
We are the
Hmm.
museum of the future. We're the museum of the people. Now, isn't
Right.
that a good thought?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you asked the good questions. What is it going to be? That's going to be determined. Uh, Where is it going to be is a big question. In Houston, that matters. We're it's such a large city. There's so much traffic. Remember, we're designing the future, so we're looking at extrapolating from designs that are already for I-45 extension and relocation, and then what are the super highways that are planned for the next 10 years, et cetera. We need to know all that so that
And even though this is something that's going to present Latino art and culture, it's not just for Latinos.
no, I think that's a really important thing. Don't you think, Blanca, that thinking about it as our gift to the city is the right way to think about this?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's gift the city our culture explained and authentically represented in a immersive and an experiential way. That is the
Yeah.
best way. That's what we're telling the consultants, by the way. We're not
Yeah.
going to, this is going to be a building with a front door and a dock and a loading dock.
Right.
No, no such thing. We
Mm.
want the gardens. We want the plazas, the zócalos. We want the vendors. We want the people. We want the mercaditos. We want the food, and
We
we
want
and
the
everything.
representation there. We want the
Yes,
representation.
want the representation. And
Yeah.
everybody in Houston, one of the thoughts I have, Blanca, is imagine that your daughter or granddaughter was going to have a quinceañera, and you say, "Oh, wait a minute, let's see when Alma is available."
Yeah.
That's the home of our culture,
Yeah. And I
right?
also like that you're going to have an archive section as well,
Yes,
because it'll be great because it'll show what Latinos did to help build Houston, you know, in other decades, you
that
know?
I also have to tell you that one of the most impressive things I've seen it in two places. I saw it uh, at Universal Studios in LA, and I saw it at the Brooklyn Museum recently in New York. I saw the physical archives of the objects of our culture.
Mm.
Now imagine our culture represented in objects, everything from quinceañera dresses to tiaras to pre-Columbian vases. You can imagine, I mean, am I making myself clear? We've got a lot. We've got
Yes, a
a lot.
lot,
It's
a
ours.
lot.
Like, that is ours. Well, we
Yeah,
need a place for that representation because
yeah,
up to now, I have people literally reaching out to me and asking, where can I leave something like a pre-Columbian a
yeah.
statue
And we
that
want to share it. We need to share it.
absolutely, it's for sharing. It is
Yes,
for sharing. But
yeah,
also remember, it's part of our culture, it's part of our
yeah,
heritage, and it's
yeah.
part of our representation.
So how can we as a community um, help make this dream come true? And I'm talking not just doing the survey, but how else can we lend a hand? How, can we volunteer? What can we do now to help make this dream come true?
The number one thing people can do right now is to be part of the movement. Being part of the movement means signing up with Alma to volunteer, to with your talents, to be part of the social media campaign of the movement. People putting in social media the survey right now, but other things and repost what Alma posts. As follow us on social media. I think this is going to be a social media movement, don't you, Blanca?
Mhm. Yes, definitely.
So I think that part of what we can do right now is truly let's just unite and then share our posts
Mhm.
and the new culture that we're bringing forth so that we can create that movement. There's something else though. We have a Latino arts and culture calendar that is found in our website, and signing up for that calendar and checking that calendar and then registering all the arts and culture in our community. And I mean all in the calendar is going to show us to begin with how rich we are. That if we think it's only happening downtown, oh no, we already proved it. That it's happening in every quadrant of the city. And how
Yeah.
beautiful that it's your in your neighborhood this is, and you take your children there. The
Mhm.
arts and culture calendar, the Latino arts and culture calendar of Alma is a very important tool that we need to continue to progress.
Yeah.
So
The Museum of Fine Arts Houston is hosting a fall festival on Sunday, November 5th, 2023, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. The event will feature the kickoff of the Dream with Alebrijes exhibit, brought to life by Houston's Latinx artists. The exhibit is a partnership between MFAH and ALMA. The festival is free and will feature a performance by Mariachi Amora Mexico, music by duo Chappie Moon and David de la Garza, dance performances by Mecca's Ballet Folclórico and Danza Azteca Taxcayolotl, short film screenings presented by Houston Latino Film Festival, and the Alma exhibit. The Alma Alebrijes exhibit will be on view at the Cullen Sculpture Garden until November 12, 2023.
Well, like right now you have, or there is Alebrije
yes,
exhibit in the
Alebrije.
Museum of Fine Arts.
Yes, Blanca, thank you for mentioning it. So you're saying, what can we do? Well, the Museum of Fine Arts Houston reached out to us and said, they didn't ask, what can we do? They said, do with us, be our partners. And I will forever be so proud of that museum, of that leadership, for understanding that we bring a different a different power to the table. We bring a different group of people to the table. So we did. We partnered with them. We did a call for artists, and together it was completely together, Alma and MFH, and then the artists were chosen from that call, Latino artists, for the Alebrijes festival in the 5th of November, 2023, at the Museum of Fine Arts. And we can all show up. Alma will be there, and we can all show up, sign up, take the survey,
Well,
support our artists, and
yeah. Well,
mar-
can you let people know what Alebrijes are?
Alebrijes are a beautiful expression of our culture. It is from Oaxaca. There is a beautiful history of a man who started the alebrijes, and they make them in a particular wood of that area, and they are carved and then painted. And so they're little monsters or little jaguars with big ears or flames coming out of it. And so they're very playful, very colorful. They're
Very
hand
magical looking.
magical. They're magical. So now at the museum, what people are going to see are large alebrijes that these
Oh,
artists
wow.
from Alma and the MFH have created for this festival. So I invite everybody to come. But let me tell you, Blanca, the Latino arts and culture calendar has lots of opportunities, lots of places to partake of culture, of our culture and of our expression. So
Yeah.
back to your very important question: what can people do? Number one, uh, take the survey on Alma and spread it. Send it by email. Send the link. You can copy it and send the link by email to everybody you know. Number two, follow us on social media. Register with us. Register on the Alma page. Register with us in our social media, and then follow us in the Latino Art and Culture calendar. And remember to put your own art and culture happening in our calendar so that we can continue to propagate this, even though we may not have our front doors open yet, right? We're not in the physical space, but we are in the digital space. Blanca, the fact that you and I are talking, we already exist.
We all need to help open those doors.
There's going to be lots of opportunities coming
Right.
forth of not only participating with Alma, but opportunities for vendors and people we're calling to come up to the table.
Yeah. Let's become a part of this huge, huge dream. Um,
Yes, Blanca, let's.
so can you give us the website again where we can get all this information for the calendar and what you have coming up and how we can become volunteers or become community members? Just,
It's all on our
whatever we
website.
need.
Yes, it's all on our website, www.alma.org. Alma spelled ALMA, another A, and double H.
And again, ALMA means Advocates of a Latino Museum of Cultural and Visual Arts and Archive Complex in Houston and Harris County.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you so much for coming and joining me and giving us all this information on this great complex that is in the works for Houston and all everybody, and no matter what community you live in. Well, I'd like to thank you as well for joining me for this edition of Spotlight Houston. I'm glad you were here to listen to Geraldina Wise talk about this great endeavor that they have coming up. And if you have any comments, please send them my way. Also, if you happen to have any story ideas, please let me know.
Thank you, Blanca.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Spotlight Houston, a production of Story Zone Media.